Sometimes life changes in ways children never expected. One day, everything feels normal. Then suddenly, mom and dad are arguing more. The house feels different. People feel quieter or colder. Maybe one parent moves out. Maybe there are tears. Maybe there are long, serious conversations children don't fully understand. And deep inside, many children start asking questions they don't always say out loud. Was this my fault? Why can't things go back to normal? Do both my parents still love me? What's going to happen now? Family separation can feel confusing for children, even scary sometimes, especially when life suddenly changes so quickly. Different houses, different routines, different emotions. Sometimes children feel sad, sometimes angry, sometimes numb. Sometimes they try to act completely normal while secretly feeling overwhelmed inside. And something important to understand is this. Every feeling you have during family separation is completely human. A lot of children think they need to be strong all the time, especially if they see their parents upset. So instead of talking about their feelings, they keep everything bottled up quietly inside. But emotions don't disappear just because we hide them. They usually come out in other ways: trouble sleeping, feeling anxious, getting angry more easily, feeling lonely, trouble concentrating at school, or feeling emotionally exhausted without understanding why. Children are incredibly sensitive to emotional energy. Even when adults think they're hiding things well, kids often feel the tension immediately, the silence, the sadness, the stress in the air. And because children don't fully understand adult problems yet, many secretly blame themselves. So this is one of the most important things to hear first. Your parents separating is not your fault. Not because of your behavior. Not because you weren't good enough. Adult relationships are complicated. Grown-ups sometimes struggle with emotions, communication, stress, or problems children cannot see or understand yet. And even when parents stop being able to live together peacefully, that does not mean they stop loving their children. Sometimes adults make the healthiest decision they can by living separately instead of constantly fighting. Because living in a home filled with stress, anger, or tension every day can also deeply affect children emotionally. A peaceful, separated family can sometimes feel much safer than a home filled with constant conflict. That's important to understand. There's a story about a young girl named Lily, whose parents separated when she was 9 years old. At first, she felt terrified. She thought her whole world was falling apart. She became quieter at school. She stopped talking about her feelings. And every night, she secretly wondered if somehow she caused the separation. One afternoon, her grandfather took her for a walk beside a lake. He listened quietly while she finally explained all the fear she'd been carrying inside. Then he said something she never forgot. When storms happen in nature, it doesn't mean the sky stopped loving the earth. At first, Lily didn't fully understand, so her grandfather pointed to the lake. The water was rough from the wind, waves moving everywhere, but underneath, deep below the surface, the water was still calm. He explained, sometimes adults go through emotional storms inside themselves, but storms eventually pass, and even when life changes, love can still remain. That conversation helped Lily stop blaming herself, and slowly, she began opening up emotionally again. One of the hardest parts about family separation for children is uncertainty. Humans feel safest when life feels predictable. So when routines suddenly change, the nervous system can feel stressed. New homes, different schedules, different schools sometimes, new partners eventually entering the family. It can feel like life keeps shifting before children even have time to emotionally adjust. This is why it's important for children to talk about their feelings instead of carrying everything alone. Talking to somebody safe helps enormously. A parent, a grandparent, a counselor, a teacher. a trusted adult, or even writing feelings in a journal sometimes helps, because emotions become heavier when carried alone silently. Another thing children need to understand is this: you are allowed to love both parents, always. You should never feel guilty for loving one parent while spending time with the other, and you should never feel like you need to choose sides. That pressure can feel incredibly painful for children emotionally. Sometimes children become worried about hurting a parent's feelings, so they hide excitement after spending time with the other parent. Or they become nervous talking openly. That emotional pressure can become exhausting. Healthy adults understand that children deserve the freedom to love both parents safely. Love is not something children should feel guilty about. There's another story about a boy named Daniel, whose parents separated when he was 11. At first, he became very angry, not because he hated his parents, but because he felt powerless. Everything was changing around him, and nobody seemed to ask how he felt. So he started acting out at school, getting frustrated easily, arguing more. One teacher noticed something important, though. Underneath the anger, Daniel was actually scared. Children often express sadness differently than adults. Sometimes sadness comes out as anger, withdrawal, or frustration. The teacher gave Daniel space to talk without judgment, and eventually he admitted something heartbreaking. I just miss how things used to feel. That sentence explains what many children silently experience after separation: grief. Not necessarily because they stopped being loved, but because the familiar version of life disappeared. Children grieve routines, family traditions, shared dinners, movie nights, the feeling of everybody being together in one place. And grieving change is normal. Even adults struggle with change sometimes. One thing that helps children emotionally during difficult changes is routine. Simple things matter more than many people realize. Regular bedtime, familiar hobbies, exercise, time outside, talking openly, feeling emotionally included, feeling heard. These things help calm the nervous system. Sometimes when children feel overwhelmed emotionally, their mind also begins imagining scary future thoughts. What if everything gets worse? What if one parent stops loving me? What if my family is broken forever? But thoughts are not always reality. Fearful thoughts are common during stressful times. That doesn't mean those fears will happen. Families can still become loving, safe, healthy places after separation, just in a different way than before. Many children from separated families grow up emotionally strong, kind, wise, and deeply compassionate, especially when they feel emotionally supported through the process. Something else important to understand is this: parents are human too. Adults don't always handle emotions perfectly. Sometimes they cry. Sometimes they get stressed. Sometimes they say things they later regret. That doesn't automatically mean they're bad parents. It means they're human beings navigating difficult emotions. And just like children, adults sometimes need time to heal emotionally too. There may also come a time when new people enter the family: a new partner, a step-parent, new siblings. And that can feel strange or uncomfortable at first. Many children feel confused during these changes. Some worry they're being replaced emotionally. Others feel loyal to the other parent and become unsure how to react. Those feelings are more normal than many people realize. Trust takes time. Connection takes time. And healthy relationships grow slowly through kindness, patience, and consistency, not pressure. There's a story about a boy named Marcus whose mother remarried several years after divorce. At first, Marcus refused to speak much to his stepfather. He wasn't trying to be rude, he just felt emotionally confused. The new stepfather didn't force closeness. He simply stayed kind, present, patient. Over time, they slowly bonded through simple moments, playing basketball, cooking together, helping with homework. Years later, Marcus explained, "What helped me trust him was that he never tried to replace my dad." Children don't need pressure during family transitions. They need emotional safety. One thing many children never realize is how strong they actually are. Humans are incredibly adaptable. Even after painful changes, the nervous system can heal, families can heal, life can feel peaceful again. And difficult experiences sometimes help people develop deeper empathy and emotional wisdom later in life. Many adults who experienced family separation as children eventually become incredibly caring parents themselves because they understand emotional sensitivity so deeply. There's also something important about emotions most people are never taught. Feelings move, they change constantly. No emotion stays forever. Sadness changes, fear changes, confusion changes. Even storms in nature eventually pass. That's why it's important not to believe that difficult emotions today will last forever. They won't. Healing often happens slowly, quietly. Feeling heard, feeling safe, feeling loved consistently over time. Sometimes children think they need to protect their parents emotionally by hiding their own feelings. But healthy communication matters. Saying, "I feel sad, I miss how things used to be, I feel confused," those conversations can actually help families become emotionally closer. There's nothing weak about emotions. Emotions are part of being human, and children deserve support while learning how to navigate them. One of the healthiest things children can do during stressful times is continue caring for their mind and body, sleeping properly, playing, laughing, moving the body, being creative, spending time outside, talking to safe people. These simple things help regulate the nervous system more than many people realize. And something else matters deeply. Your future is not ruined because your family changed. But family separation does not decide whether somebody will have a beautiful future, healthy relationships, or happiness later in life. The emotional support, love, and healing afterwards matter far more. Sometimes families don't stay together physically, but they still stay connected through love. That love can still exist, even if life looks different now. Years from now, many children realize something important. The hardest moments in life often helped them become stronger, more understanding, and more compassionate human beings. Not because pain itself is magical, but because humans are capable of healing. And healing begins when people feel safe, seen, heard, and loved. So if your family is going through separation right now, remember this: you are not the cause of adult problems. You deserve love from both parents. You deserve emotional safety. You deserve support. And no matter how confusing life feels right now, you are not alone. There are millions of children all over the world learning how to navigate family changes too. And slowly, day by day, things can become peaceful again, even if life looks different than before. If this message found you at the right time, there are deeper mindfulness journeys waiting for you on this channel. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next mindfulness journey.